All right. Our Sergeant of Arms is going to be running a little bit late, so I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting at 6:30 on Tuesday. I am David Jones, President of Queen City Toastmasters. We're doing it on Zoom tonight. We weren't sure how tonight was going to play out. It was kind of a late verdict and just wanted to be safe than sorry, but it's also good to know that we have the option of Zoom as a club, whether it's the weather or any other circumstances. We can always go on Zoom and keep the meetings going, so I'm glad that we had it. Another thing, I don't know if any of you have seen on our YouTube channel, I made about a 30-minute video for new members and guests about what Toastmasters is, kind of explaining it. And it reminded me that Toastmasters is about in-person. It's about getting off your butt, walking up and getting on the stage and actually giving a speech. And I think that we definitely need to try to get into the physical meetings more, because that's where the magic happens. Here it's okay, but we definitely need to be in person. And we're going to go ahead and start off the meeting, and we're going to let Vanessa Waller, our immediate past president. She is our, and I don't think we have any guests real quick. Okay, good. I didn't miss any guests. She is our Toastmaster for the night. So take it away, Vanessa.
Thanks so much, David. And a quick shout out to Vincent. I know you're not a guest technically because you are our area director, but thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you. And welcome everyone. And as most of us probably know, this Thursday is Earth Day. It's the annual celebration of our planet. It's a topic that, you know, we're all part of the same planet, regardless of where we come from or our political background, our religion, our nationality. We all have to share the earth. So it's really an international celebration of our planet. And it's certainly something that is close to my heart because I studied environmental studies and sustainability when I was in college. And that's really what set me on my current career path. I got really interested in the science and the analysis behind environmental data. And so whenever Earth Day comes around, I'm reminded of why I chose this path. It is something that also reminds me to care a little more. Sometimes I forget about the importance of raising awareness about things like species diversity, climate change, even something really simple like recycling more, thinking through what you can and cannot recycle. It's a good reality check and keeps me reminded of the importance of all that. I was recently looking up ways to celebrate Earth Day because I thought, well, what do people do on Earth Day? And I saw that there is a virtual event hosted by National Geographic on Thursday at 8:30. If anyone's interested, I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing that I hadn't heard about. But with all that said, I wanted to open it up for sharing some thoughts on tonight's theme. Does anyone have a way that they like to celebrate Earth Day or something that they think about when Earth Day comes up in April each year? And it's open to anyone to just share thoughts.
Well, I personally, when I'm driving down the road and I get some gum and I'm about to throw the wrapper out the window, I always remember it's Mother Nature. I can wait until I get to home or the next location and throw it away. So it's little things like that that are just, you know, click in my head. And it's part of camping and hiking and stuff that I want it to be a clean environment. So that's kind of what I do, is just don't litter.
That is a great point, David. It's so simple, and yet a lot of people, especially when you go to campsites, you see litter on the ground. And I've heard this phrase that you want to try and leave the campsite cleaner than when you found it. And I know hikers are often really tuned into that. So that's an awesome message for sure. Yeah, that's great. And anyone else have thoughts on how they celebrate Earth Day? Angelica?
Yeah, to me is more about what I am giving to my kids as a parent, as a mother. I feel responsible of what I am, what the word that I am giving to them. So I feel like I try to do. I'm not super serious, but I try recycle. I have a Prius, so just little things that help. My son doesn't like the Prius, but I said that's just my little thing to help to the environment. So little things like that, teaching them to recycle, teaching them to be conscious about energy or the water and things like that is kind of what I try to do and how I try to probably teach and celebrate with them.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Angelica. I think I've heard a lot of people say that educating their children is really important to them, just often by example, like showing them, no, we don't do this, we do that, especially when they're young. And I think that's awesome that that is part of what you educate your children on, is looking after the environment. It's something kids can learn when they're young, and then when they grow older, they're like, okay, this is what we do, this is normal. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. And the rest of the meeting is very exciting. We move through several different segments. We have some speakers. I don't think we have many guests tonight, as far as I can tell. So we probably know the drill. But next up on our agenda, in any case, is our inspiration / joke master, who will share a brief thought to get the meeting started. And tonight, that is Toastmaster Bailey. So Bailey, if you're able, I can't see your video, but hopefully you're able to hear and tune in. I'll turn it over to you if you want to share an inspirational quote or a joke with us.
Yes, I'm sorry my video isn't working today, but thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I thought I'd go along the same thing about Earth Day this week and have a little joke for you guys. So what is a tree's least favorite month? September.
Oh,
So that was my joke for today, and can't wait to hear the speeches here today. So I'll bring it back over to you, Toastmaster. Madam
thanks,
Toastmaster.
Bailey. Yeah, thank you. For a second, I was trying to figure out what that was, and then I realized, oh, sap is in like maple syrup sap. Oh, that's a good one. Good pun. All right, awesome. Well, our next item on the agenda is someone who will keep us on track in terms of our filler words. We want to try and cut down on ums and ahs, and also comment on our grammar usage. And tonight, our grammarian will be also our Sergeant at Arms, Julian. So welcome, Julian. Good to see you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Sorry I was late this evening. I was picking up my puppy. So anyway, so I will be your grammarian this evening. I'm going to be looking out for those filler words and just general grammatical errors. Hopefully I said that right. So I'll be looking out for those things. And then today, the word of the day is going to be recycle, to go along with Earth Day. So it might be a tough one, but we'll see. And
Sounds
I think that's
good.
it.
Well,
So I'll turn it over to Toastmaster Vanessa.
thank you so much, Julian. And I do like that word of the day. I think we'll have to figure out some creative ways to fit it into our speeches. All right, next on our agenda, we have someone who will help us keep track of our time, and that is our timer, Avinash. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Greetings to fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. My name is Avinash Singh, and I'm going to be the timer today. As a timer, I'm going to keep track of table topics, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I'm also responsible flagging the time taken. So table topics are between 2 to 3 minutes. When it's 2 minutes, my background will change to green. When it's 2 minutes, 30 seconds, the background will change to yellow, and at 3 minutes, it will be red. Formal speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, and evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. For guests, I think for table topics, for table topics, yeah, the limit is like, there is no limit to the answers. They can whatever time they take, it's fine for them. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Avinash. And I love how you're using the Zoom backgrounds. It makes it really easy for the rest of us. Thanks so much. All right, well, this is the part of the meeting we've all been excited for. And we have our two speakers lined up for tonight. Our first speaker is Toastmaster Natalie. And Natalie, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you're doing a storytelling speech from a Pathways elective on the topic of what are you eating? So I'm already excited because everyone loves food, right? I love food. I think we all do. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about this topic, and I'll turn it over to you.
What are you eating? Oh, that was my little brother's annoying voice. Does anyone have a younger sibling by show of hands? Well, you probably got similar questions growing up. And for those of you who didn't, you're lucky. I was always being followed by my brother, had a constant shadow. And I would turn around and say, why don't you just do your own thing? Why are you always copying me? I think what you're doing is cool. Oh, really? Well, then I had the bright idea as a clever older sister that maybe this could work to my advantage. I saw the opportunity to enlist my brother as my guinea pig when it came to food. He was a willing participant, and I have to say, in retrospect, as I grew up, he has been one of the biggest blessings and teachers of my life. So I'm very fortunate to have a younger brother and best friend. We're only a year and 28 days apart, so we're pretty close in age. And it's nice to have a partner in crime. Now, I don't know if he'll feel the same because I'm going to share with you some of the experimentation that he helped me on. And as the perfect guinea pig who was minding my meals, he led me down the path of food exploration, or as some of my friends call me, a gastro explorer. And I'll tell you why I've been on this gastronomic journey and what I'm eating now. So when my younger brother would say, what are you eating? I started to get creative with what I was eating. And one time, I remember this distinctly, and I'm embarrassed to share, bless his heart, but I put together what I thought was a good combination, because you eat pizza, which is sauce, cheese, and usually you have a Coca-Cola. So why not put them all together in one dish? Now, keep in mind, I'm probably around 6 years old at this time. He's 5. And this sounds like a fantastic idea. Now, I asked him the other day, he has no recollection of this whatsoever, but that sounded like a good idea at the time. Ask me if I'd eat that now, and I would be horrified. Not only would I personally not eat that combined in a bowl, I actually stopped drinking soda during my teen years. And that was because I was a sugar addict. And I realized it at the age of 14 when I would go grab soda for breakfast. But that's another story completely. And that's part of my journey as what are you eating now? So over the years, as my gastro exploration continued, I found that I was food curious. But growing up, I also had a lot of food restrictions in that I was particularly picky. I didn't like dairy. I didn't like seafood. It was to the point that my mom might buy sushi for dinner, and I would unroll the dishes to make sure, or those sushi rolls, to make sure that there was not seafood inside and that it was indeed imitation crab. I'd actually leave out the imitation crab and just eat the seaweed and the rice, just in case, because you never knew what mom was sneaking into the food. So my journey continued, and my first job, ironically enough, was in food public relations. And so being young, I didn't think to say that I had allergies. And at the time I had no food allergies, 0 food allergies. And my first client was a fish restaurant. And when I was set up to go to the dinner, my boss said, "We're taking journalists. You have to eat everything tonight because you are representing this brand and product." Yes, except I don't eat seafood, but I couldn't tell her that. So I went ahead and I ate the whole meal. I thought I was going to die, but then something interesting happened. I found out that there were actually seafood dishes that I liked and enjoyed. That led me to become a more adventurous eater, and I slowly started exploring various cuisines and expanding my horizons. I learned how to cook. I went to Food and Wine Festival at the time I was living in Miami, and that was a popular event on South Beach every February that would take place. I visited several of my favorite chefs. That included Emeril Lagasse and even Guy Fieri. And those of you who know me now might be wondering, well, you told us that you're vegetarian vegan. How'd you get there? Over the course of my gastro exploration, I was working a high stress job, and I started to have acid reflux from a lot of my favorite foods. And that was coffee, red meats, even some fruits. And over time, I developed food allergies. I went from having 0 food allergies to having food allergies in every category, even bananas and broccoli, if you can believe it. Who's allergic to bananas and broccoli? Those are supposed to be good for you, right? Well, they weren't working for my body at the time. So I went on to study yoga, and I learned about sattvic eating. And sattva is one of 3 qualities in yogic tradition. So in yoga, it's known as the gunas, and the gunas are 3 qualities. Sattva is a state of peace, and then you have rajas, which is hyperactivity, and tamas, which is inertia or laziness. And so I started to eat in a more clean way that helps to balance not only the acid reflux and the body, but the mind, and minimize anxiety and the adrenaline and cortisol production. So if you ask me what I'm eating these days, that's probably one of my favorite questions. And I would be more than happy to share and tell you about this way of eating and lifestyle. Thank you, Toastmaster. Over to you all.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I loved your story about your journey of starting off as a very creative chef and then getting into the industry of writing about food. I think that's so interesting, and it definitely encourages me to be adventurous with food. I think my dad is the one in our family who is not adventurous, so I'll have to share your story and hopefully get him to see that sometimes trying new things can be a really good adventure. It can be good. Thanks so much. Excellent speech. All right, so our next speaker is a seasoned Toastmaster. We're so grateful to have him join us. Turk, you have been a great inspirational speaker. You've done a TEDx talk. We're always really eager to hear what you have to share. And I'm looking online. I don't know if you have a specific focus to your speech, but I remember we talked a little bit, and you're thinking about imparting some of your wisdom based on your experience as a speaker. So I'm really all ears to hear more about your ideas. So I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to you.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and if there are any guests here, and you guys. I was thinking, a good speaker, what is the difference between a good speaker and a great speaker? We're Toastmasters, so we're here to appreciate good storytelling, changing minds, self-improvement, improving the story, overcoming a fear. Each of us have a different reason why we're here. And I don't really know or care why you're here. I know why I am here. And since I only want to speak for myself, I want to share with you why I joined Toastmaster and what I learned and how that is going to improve your life by the time I stop speaking. I came to Toastmasters, I want to make sure I don't overspeak, is not to learn to speak, but to learn to shut up. I came to Toastmasters as an inspirational speaker. An average speech I gave is about 2 hours long. So it's more of a life story that I share with the audience. So we go through a journey using the words. We are wordsmiths after all. And I didn't even warm up until minute 8, minute 10 in this 2-hour journey. But when I went to a Toastmasters meeting and someone like Natalie was able to make a point in 7 minutes and actually fit the whole story, I said, wow, these guys are up to something. Because just like music, the music actually not the notes that makes the music go, but the silence that's within the music that makes the music sound so good. So being a good storyteller, like the way that we practice in this dojo called Toastmasters, the idea is, can we move other minds in a way that we want them to go without being confrontational. In fact, maybe even leading, being the Toastmasters in the storytelling part. And in that, the key is the story. So the story is the silence that's between the story. For that, you have to understand how to be a wordsmith. Enter Toastmasters. I don't want to recycle a story about Earth Day, some of the cliches, because we're here, I'm here, you're here. So I want to inspire you to be the best speaker you can be. And for that, you have to be able to understand your audience. Well, unfortunately, in this audience situation, I'm not able to feel the silence, how you move in your chair, how you breathe. Now, when you come to the Queen City in-person meetings, that you're going to appreciate the energy you are as the speaker have with your audience. That storytelling, that understanding of your audience in a way that they can resonate with you, and then you can move them up in their own potential. If you're able to do that, then you are a good Toastmasters. So how do you do that? Let's think about this. Pop quiz. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to get your heart. I wanted to make sure Avinash was paying attention. So whenever we're telling a story, it's important for us to have a purpose. And this is true for each speech we give. Whether it's this one, next one, your icebreaker, you as a speaker want to have an idea that you want to share, that you want your audience to move. There are 2 ways to move an audience: through inspiration, through motivation. You could yell at somebody to take action, but in my opinion, that's not the best way to do it, but you could do it. Or you could inspire them to take the action. The difference is how you, as the speaker, how you show up. And for you to show up on that stage, how you carry yourself, how you carry your body, how you think about how the talk is going to be, actually thinking about what you're going to do. Ahead of time, to even think about to challenge yourself as the speaker. Toastmaster meetings and this organization, and the reason that we are all here are because this is our dojo. In the dojo, any MMA fighter or any martial artist will tell you, it's not about kicking the other guy's ass, but it's working your trade, working your motion, working your breathing, working on your growth. Glad you're here. For those of you who have not given your speeches, let me encourage you to sign up today, take the bold action, and do your first speech. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Turk. I loved your creative way to get us to feel inspired. You not only threatened us with a pop quiz, but you also switched your cameras. It was definitely a great example of what you're talking about, of showing what's possible, even on an online speech format. We may feel like Zoom is kind of boring, but we do the best we can. So there you go. Thank you so much. All right, well, Avinash, I do want to make sure we get a timers report before I forget. I'll turn it over to you if you have a timers report for our two speakers.
Sure. Let me say that, both the speeches were so good. I kind of, lost track of time. I was so involved that, I lost, keeping note of the time. So there may be like, little bit variation, but I think Natalia, you took 6 minutes, 45 seconds. So you are, well in time. Turk, you took 5 minutes, 40 seconds. Also, I think you are also within the time. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Avinash. Great to confirm that. And I can relate. I sometimes feel like, oh, I was still processing the speech and now I'm back to Toastmaster mode. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I do want to also mention that everyone's encouraged and welcome to provide feedback. We have a chat box in Zoom, and you can actually direct message someone by going to the drop-down menu and selecting their name, and you can provide feedback to our speakers. So please feel free to do that. And you'll see a place to vote for your favorite speech as well. And that'll just be a poll that pulls up. So just wanted to let everyone know about that. And at this point in the meeting, we segue a little bit to a different section, a different focus, and we will now be shifting to focusing on impromptu speaking, working on our off-the-cuff, generating ideas, only 1 to 2 minute impromptu speeches. And for that, I will turn it over to our table topics master, Amber. So Amber, welcome. Good to see you. And I heard from David, you're a recent member. So congrats for joining Queen City Toastmasters. And I don't remember if I got to sort of say welcome officially. So thanks for volunteering as our table topics master.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I really appreciate it. So with this, I do have a question, kind of Earth Day related. So what is your favorite season and why? Angelica?
We are in my favorite season, April. I just love April. It's, first of all, I was born in April, so my birthday was last week. And I just love, I think that one of my speeches was about plants, and I love plants. And this is the month where the plants are coming back, my trees are coming back, flowers everywhere. The grass is just, to me, the weather is perfect. It's not cold, it's not hot. You can open the windows, you can breathe. It's just, I love to hear the birds. So this is just my favorite time. So I can be outside, we can we grill a lot. So it's just everything about this season that makes it so special. So I like the other seasons. I like fall, I like winter, but always spring is my favorite. Thank you.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I'll go,
All right.
Amber.
Okay, Bailey.
So my favorite season would have to be fall. I played soccer growing up, and we always played in the fall. It also is football season, which I'm a big LSU football fan and watch them every game. I'm near the TV screaming at it. Just love the football sports in that type of range. It also has my favorite holidays. You have Halloween, you have Thanksgiving, just time where you get to be around family, especially around Thanksgiving. Halloween is right around my birthday. So I always would have Halloween themed birthdays and get to dress up in whatever you want to dress up in, and just always seems to have a really good time. I love the leaves, the weather. It's like it's cold and cool, but at the same time, you have this like warmth from the sun that just sort of warms your soul. And I love going up to Asheville and just seeing the different leaves and hiking up in that area. It's just absolutely breathtaking. And I don't know, it just makes me appreciate life more and just the beauty of what Earth is all about. So that's all I have.
Awesome, Bailey. I definitely agree with you on that one. So for this one, do I ask just one question or two questions?
I think you have time for a couple more, Amber. If you want to ask two, that's totally fine.
Okay, so I do have another question, and it's, what's your favorite place on Earth to visit? Favorite place on Earth. Okay, Vanessa.
I guess I'll go ahead since I didn't see other hands, but one of my favorite places, I'll say, I don't think I could choose just one, but one of my favorite places to visit is actually Japan. And this is really weird because I've only been there once, but I think that's part of why this particular trip just sticks in my mind and is a really special memory. It was back when I was in high school. My dad had been studying Japanese language and culture as one of his many hobbies. He has a lot of hobbies, and this was one of the things that he was particularly interested in. And so he had this dream for years since, me and my sister were young. He'd always had this dream that one day we would get to visit Japan, even though it's a very long plane flight, it's expensive to get there. We had this vision of doing that. And eventually, when I was in high school, we went ahead, and it was so interesting. It was one of those experiences where, because the language and culture is so different, it remained really a solid memory. And I remember the beautiful castles that looked so different from any other buildings I'd seen before. It was cherry blossom season, so a beautiful time to see the trees just dropping their little pink petals onto the ground. It was interesting too to see the downtown Tokyo city center. Everyone was walking very fast all the time. They all looked very professional. This is probably a stereotype, but it seemed to be true. And I thought, this is like a different planet to me. This felt so, everything was clean, everything was neat and organized. And I just thought, this is so cool. I have to go back one day. And I have not yet been back, but it's one of those things that I would like to revisit. And one of these days I will make the trip back to Japan, even though unfortunately I do not speak the language, something on my list of things to do. So that's about it. I'll turn it back to you, Amber.
Awesome, Vanessa. That's definitely on my top 3 lists of places to go. And now I even want to go even more. So awesome. Anywhere else? A favorite place on Earth to visit?
I think Vincent was raising his hand.
Vincent? Sorry about that. I was looking around.
Sure.
Okay, Vincent.
Hi, fellow Toastmasters, guest as well, and I am a guest also. But I am going to tell you about my favorite place to visit on Earth. I will have to take a cue out of Vanessa Waller's book, is that I can't choose just one. I think once you travel around the world to various countries, various continents, other hemispheres, you start to say, well, I can't choose just one, although you want to. I would say my favorite so far has been Aruba, but also Sydney, Australia. I'm going to go with Aruba, though. This is the reason why. As we talk about Earth Day and different seasons, Aruba to me has the perfect temperature. It is a good 85 to 88 degrees all year round, sunny 320 plus days out of the year. It is all of about 40 or 50 miles for the whole entire island. It's outside of the hurricane belt, so you don't have to worry about hurricanes. So therefore, you can spend all of your time, all of your energy eating great food, having wonderful drinks, and laying out on the beach, looking at the divvy trees blow in the wind. Therefore, I would say that Aruba, the island itself, is my favorite place in the entire world to visit, and I want to go back there again. But it's so hard to choose just one. But that's what I have for you in that case. Go there and you'll fall in love yourself, I promise. And remember, Caribbean, but no hurricane. Thank you.
Awesome, Vincent. Like, okay, let me actually write this down. Never really thought about going to Aruba, but I want to say thank you, Angelica, Bailey, Vanessa, and Vincent for answering the questions. Really appreciate you guys. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thanks so much, Amber. Those were great questions. Makes me want to travel some more. All right, I do want to check with Avinash to see about how we did in terms of time. I know we have a very limited window for each table topic. So Avinash, can you help us make sure we're on track for your timer?
Sure. Yes, Madam Toastmaster. So Angelica took 1 minute, 3 seconds. So she qualifies. Bailey took 1 minute, 15 seconds. So again, I think she was also within time. She qualifies. Vanessa, you took 2 minutes, 4 seconds. I guess I think you also qualified. And Vincent took 1 minute, 42 seconds. So Vincent also qualifies. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thanks so much, Avinash. Great to hear that we all qualified. It's always good. All right, so now I get to segue once more to our third and final section of our meeting, which is all about evaluations. And for that section, I will turn it over to our general evaluator who, oh, that's right, it is Avinash. I'm sorry. I should have just given you the microphone and let you take it. All right, I'll turn it back to you, Avinash, and you can start us off with your general evaluation.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I'll be general evaluator for today's meeting, and I think this is first time I'm, evaluating the meeting. So please bear with me. It's slightly, little difficult part because it has to, hop through, different sections. So in this evaluation, I'll be like, I'll take help from 2 other evaluators who will evaluate the speeches. And then I will also request, timer reports for evaluation. Again, I'm the timer, so I'll have to, give the timer reports on that. And then I will evaluate the meeting general as a whole. And also I will request in this section, grammarian to provide the overall meeting feedback. So let me first introduce our first evaluator for today, Alvis Lopez. He is going to evaluate the first speaker. Over to you, Lopez. Alvis, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and any guests. Thank you, Natalie, for giving us your speech tonight. It was a very engaging story. It was a storytelling, and you showed us your abilities to tell us a story. Your speech was full of elements, starting with how you engaged us as an audience, starting with your background. I knew that it was going to be about food by looking at your kitchen on your background. And you started engaging us with a question, and that continued then with your story about your brother and your adventures, the different experiences with your mom's food and how you developed some allergies, and your passion for food and cooking, and and what you have become now in terms of loving food and your passion for clean food and everything that is related with food. Now, one of the things that I would like to point out, and this would be an area to improve upon, would be the different stories, and it looked to me as if there were different stories and not a single one. So how to connect them through this structure, and then deliver your message with a powerful conclusion. So if you can include a powerful message at the end, that will be also awesome. And you know, focusing on this story, because it was to me, as I mentioned, a little bit confusing. The delivery was perfect in terms of giving an appropriate structure. You had an introduction, you had the body, and then a conclusion. The body language, you were very posed at the beginning, used your hands, your facial expressions, your gestures, they were all aligned with what you were saying, your speaking mode. You were happy telling the story. And in certain occasions, when you were talking about your mom, you could have put a kind of little face also when you were saying, and you don't know what your mom put to your food and things like that. So all in all, I think it was an excellent speech, very good content, very relatable, and I look forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Elvis, for wonderful evaluation. I just want to, make a remark here, Elvis. Whenever you speak, it looks like, every word, you are thinking and measuring before it comes out. So, I mean, I wish I could, I could have that, skill. So excellent evaluation. And yeah, I love the way you speak. Okay, we will move to the next evaluator. Our next evaluator is going to be David Jones, and he will be evaluating the speech of. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And now we're going to have the opposite of Elvis, because I don't think before I speak, I just speak. And for those of you who don't know, Turk, this was an improv. He prepared about 10 minutes before the meeting. He asked a couple of us what he should talk about. And that's how you do it. If you're comfortable with public speaking as he is, and that's why he encouraged everybody to do their icebreaker. I believe we have Julian, Sean, and who else hasn't done it yet? And Bailey's doing hers next week, so props to her. But that's, you just talk about what you know, and that's why he was able to give a speech. Now, Turk, of course, you always start off with your good eye contact and you engage the audience and you get close, which you've encouraged me to do before. It's just a way to engage the audience by shaking us, like when you said you were going to have a quiz. The whole speech was improv, so we have to give you a little, I guess, some little leniency, because some of it you were thinking like I just was, where you're like, what am I gonna, but it was all improv on your part, so that was great. I love the topic. Anything about Toastmaster and encouraging other Toastmasters, I think, is a great topic to speak about, especially from not extinguished, because that's from a fire extinguisher. Extinguished, you know the word, Toastmasters like yourself. You're always humorous. You add humor into your speech, and even if it is a motivational speech, you always add humor. The one thing I liked, obviously, is your good lighting. Right now, you have great lighting on your face, and I think it's important just to, even when we're on Zoom, to practice our lighting. And I liked that. When you do the 2 cameras, I thought that was kind of awesome. I see the big light there, but that was another plus, was your 2 camera storytelling, where we're not just looking at one person. I wish I had another camera as well. And you do what I do. You had your own timer sitting there. You set it. I also use my own timer whenever I'm giving a speech. It's good to have a timer, but it's also good to be able to look at it and see where you're at. The only thing that I would challenge you on, and it's what you're very good at, especially when you hit stop video, you're promoting your book. I think you should have your book here instead of the number 7, which I think you should have, you know, the one habit or whatever would be a great promotion. But you gave a speech to help others, which I encourage, and I appreciate that you encouraged everybody to give their icebreaker, and hopefully they are motivated to do so. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, David. Oh, I'm having a hard time, you know, being a timer as well as evaluator, and I mean, I'm too, you know, engrossed, involved in listening to what you're saying. So I think we'll move to the next section of the evaluation. Next section is the timer's report. So I would request timer to, you know, provide the evaluation of these speeches. Since I am the timer today, so I'll give the report on that. So Elvis, you took 3 minutes 13 seconds. You qualify. You're within the time frame. And David, you took 2 minutes 30 seconds. So I guess you qualifies for that. Okay. With that, now I think I'll move to the section of, you know, evaluating the meeting in general. I think today's meeting, I can say, was like I've been on this like for almost more than 3 months now. It is one of the, you know, the best meeting we have had so far. Meeting started on time. I guess we were like, you know, late by a minute, but that's fine. So I think at the start, there was like, you know, a good emphasis by David, you know, to in-person meeting. And I think it makes a lot of sense. So that was, you know, a good point to be, you know, pointed out by David. In terms of theme of today, I think Toastmaster chose a very, very relevant, you know, topic, Earth Day, for today's theme. It couldn't have come, you know, at a better time since we have Earth Day, you know, this Thursday. It's a topic which is like, you know, very close to me. Yeah, I feel, you know, great about Earth Day, and not because like, you know, it relates very much to not what we are doing, but what we are living and doing for our future generations, particularly that aspect, you know. So very good topic, kudos to you, Madam Toastmaster. I could see a good engagement from all attendees across, you know, different sections. I think everybody was well engaged in all these sections. There were good transition from, you know, one section to other. That was very good. I think, yeah, I mean, overall, this was an excellent meeting. And I could see like, at the start of the meeting, Turk, we gave you like, you know, some topics that you could, you know, consider while giving the speech. I was amazed at how quickly, like, you know, you could prepare almost on the fly and, you know, bring it in your speech. That was like, you know, excellent. So I guess, yeah, overall a great meeting and excellent to you know, to be part of it. That's my overall evaluation of the meeting for today. Now I'll move to the next section, which is I would request Grammarian to provide the report for today's meeting.
Thank you, Avinash. I'll give a report on the grammar used. Overall, it was pretty good. Some people had, you know, certain things that they said multiple times. Natalie, you had an a couple so's, and I think a but that was out of place. Vanessa, I heard a couple. You had a so and an Turk, I think I heard an and that might have been out of place, but I think that was the only one. Avinash, you had so, and you tend to say you know a lot as like your filler phrase. Amber, I think I heard an and a so. Angelica, I heard an a so, and maybe an or maybe an. Bailey, you had a so and an and maybe an Vincent, I don't think I heard anything, but I may have missed if you did say anything. Elvis, you had a couple you had an and you had a so. And David, you had an a so and an and I think that was it. And then I don't know if I missed anyone. I think that was it. So overall, pretty good. But I will now turn it back over to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Julian. Excellent evaluation. I'm just going to, share a learning from my today's meeting. Never sign up for timer as well as, general evaluator. It's not a good combination. It's very difficult to keep track. That's a learning for all of you. So with that, I think we can conclude the evaluation section. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Avinash. Major props to you for attempting to combine timer and general evaluator. As you said, it is not an easy combination, and you did it very well. You pulled it off seamlessly. We wouldn't have guessed that you were juggling both roles at once. So excellent job with that. All right, so now I think we get to hear from our president about our favorite speeches / table topics. And David, do you have the results in of the voting for our favorite speeches tonight?
I do. And let's start with our table topics winner, who was technically a guest, would be Vincent. Congratulations, Vincent, who had no filler words. Jeez. Our favorite evaluator was Elvis. Congratulations, Elvis. And our favorite speaker was Turk. Congratulations, Turk. Back to you, Vanessa.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks so much, David. And thank you again to everyone for joining us tonight. I was so pleased that although we had a smaller, more compact group, I think we worked together like a very well-oiled machine, so to speak, although that's not a very earth-friendly metaphor. I should think of something better, like a tree with creatures living in the branches working together. Maybe that's a better metaphor for how we worked together tonight. But in any case, thank you again, and excellent choice of word of the day, Julian, that I realized I never got a chance to use. So I don't want to recycle too much content from the first part of my Toastmaster introduction, but I do want to say, I hope everyone will have a good Earth Day this Thursday. I know it's been a stressful season for a lot of us. It was a stressful day today, watching the news, awaiting the news about the trial and the verdict. And it's a lot, and I appreciate you all taking time to be here and continue on your Toastmasters journey with all the craziness going on in the world. And we're grateful for you. We're grateful to hear your voices. And with that, I will turn it back to our presiding officer for any last announcements before we adjourn.
Okay. Okay, turn it back to me. Wasn't paying attention, I apologize. I just want to check with our guests, which we only have two. Eric, thanks for joining us. Any thoughts or input for tonight? I'm glad you're not on a ladder, but that's good.
Oh, yes. I think I'm not on a ladder either, but I had to call in today because I had some of the reaction to the vaccine with some fatigue. And so I was like, I look at the time, I'm like, oh, crap, I missed the meeting. But it's good to see everybody on tonight. Yeah, always is a good meeting, great, atmosphere and energy. It's good to see people, with it. I love that catch the evaluations. Both evaluations was awesome tonight. Good job to you, Elvis. Good job to you, David. It was a fantastic wrap up of the meeting. So good job to everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And our esteemed area director, Vincent, any feedback for tonight's meeting? It was kind of we had to change it up a little bit, but here we are. I think we did all right.
Hey, feedback. Ooh, gonna throw me on the spot here. I think I may have had an right there. I would say that you all always make coming to a Toastmasters meeting so enjoyable because I never know what you all are gonna throw at me. You always have a wonderful theme. I think that's you all's, yes, your niche. And that is also one of your strengths, is that you all build a whole meeting around your themes. And that is always creative. I think that's a great way that you weave in the word of the day, as you all have done. And then also even the speakers have in some way touched on the theme, although that was not their necessary intention with their speeches. So to me, that's always a great thing. The evaluations, always a great thing as well. Avinash, if that's correct, I hope I got that right. Tough job trying to run two roles there. General evaluator is a tough role in general. I struggle with that as well. Therefore, I would say for even the most seasoned of Toastmasters on this screen here, I am not perfect. I am an area director just by title, but I'm a Toastmaster just like you all. The general evaluation is a tough thing in mindset, but after you get a few things down, you'll be good. So just keep that up, Avinash. Prepared speakers, great job. Personal stories, Turk, amazing as well. TED Talk, I want to be there one day. Natalie, thank you. I learned a lot about the different types of food and cooking. Also, the word of the day, recycle. I'm hoping that I'm able to recycle the fact that I had no caught ums, ahs, ers, so's, or buts, because so and but tend to be my crutches. But Julian, if you missed that, thank you. I'll try to recycle that same mindset and energy later on. Great job as well to you as well, David and Elvis, as well as Amber. Everyone, it's always a pleasure. That's my feedback for the meeting. Keep the themes going. I like the themes.
Perfect. Thank you, Vincent. And next week, we're going to have Bailey giving her icebreaker. And as you heard Turk say, we have a couple others that I think Avinash was 50-50 on doing it, or are you going to do it? All right, so we're going to have two icebreakers. Perfect. Maybe we'll get three. We'll see. I don't want to pressure anybody. And to Bailey, our immediate past president, I thought we were done with the color purple, but Elise was an LSU graduate. She got her veterinarian degree from there with her husband, and it was always about LSU. So welcome back LSU with Bailey. So gonna throw
Go
it.
Tigers.
And we're going to close the meeting 2 minutes early, but everybody's welcome to stay after for the post toasties, which come to us from AM Lockport. But post toasties, just hang out and talk, or you can sign off. I know Julian has to go. And then we also have a board meeting afterwards. All right. So good night, everybody. And thanks for coming to our meeting. And hopefully we'll be hybrid next week.